Welcome back, guys, for session 2 of right versus wrong. Okay, when we talked about our last video, we talked about how it's really easy to determine right from wrong in big things like murder and genocide and human trafficking, child abuse. We talked about all of that. Super simple. That's definitely wrong. Okay, but we then posed the challenge of it gets a little bit more challenging when we talk about the small everyday decisions that we have to make. Who our friends are going to be, what music we listen to, what movies we're going to watch, what jokes we're going to say. That stuff isn't so easy. That stuff is a little bit harder. But I did ask you the question for you to think about over your homework. What determines your truth? What determines your standard that you live your life by? Is it yourself? Your friends? Your parents? God? Who is it? Is it the celebrities that you see scrolling through on your Instagram or your Snapchat? Who defines your life? Who defines your standards that you live your life by? We talked about how that question that I also asked you at the very beginning, okay, is everyone born with this idea of right or wrong? We said that the answer was yes, and the scriptures, Genesis 1:27, pointed to that, okay? But if God's the one who sets the standard for us, why doesn't everyone follow it? Why is it so hard to determine that right from wrong, even when we know it up here? Okay, I want you to do this for me. I want you to think back to maybe when you were a little bit younger. All right, I want you to think about when you tried to play a game with maybe a sibling or maybe a neighbor or a friend, and you, or maybe that other person that you were playing with, changed the rules. And every time you would go through the game, the rules would kind of change a little bit. And the rules always seemed to change in favor of the person you were playing against. That ever happened to you? Yeah, a lot of times we would call that cheating, okay? But in life, it's kind of the same way. How would you feel if every single day your rules were determined by someone else and the rules were set by someone else every single time and everyone else lived by their own set of rules? That's why it's so important for us to look to God when we determine this right versus wrong mentality and this right versus wrong idea. So thinking about back to that little kid, right? If we all lived our lives like that, changing the rules every time, every single day, every minute, we're human. We're not like God. God's the only person who stays the same. He's the only person who doesn't change. We all change, and because we're human and because we're just defaulted and because of sin, we change and we can be selfish. When we change rules, we want them to benefit us, and so that standard of right versus wrong is different for every person. And so therefore, if you're basing your right and wrong standards and your truth off of other people or other things, it's never going to measure up. Because the only person who has absolute truth, the only person who knows it all, is Him. And I know you guys know this, okay? But I really just want to challenge you with this. It's really easy when we're not connected face to face, when we're not having our small groups over there in the East 3rd every Wednesday, and when we're not meeting on Sundays. It's really easy to get disconnected and to kind of lose sight of who's really in control in your life. Okay, and so I really just want to encourage you guys to take a look at that. Hebrews 13:8 says, I'm the same God yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And so in this world where everything is changing and things are going crazy and we don't necessarily know what 2 months is going to look like from now or what school is going to look like when we go back in the fall, it's going to be really critical that you guys take a look at your life and you don't get lost in the world and you don't get lost in what he is doing or she is doing or they are doing. Okay, it's going to be very important that you stick to who you are and what you know about yourself. Okay, and that is all found in Him. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into this when we come back for our third and final session. All right, see ya.